might have heard that Facebook is a bit of an outlier in their, or Meta now, they're a bit of an outlier in their approach to developing AI. They're a major player in AI development, big company putting billions into this. Their head of AI, Jan LeCun, is probably the um, extreme end of the spectrum from where Roman and I are in terms of AI safety. He's like, no, no, by definition, more intelligence is better. So for him, developing AI as super intelligent is inherently a good for the universe. And I'm like, well, it's good if we don't all die in the process. I actually do care about myself, my family, my loved ones, humanity in general. So it's a hard argument to make for me. But he and Meta more generally have been developing open source AI. And they developed a model maybe 6 months ago called Llama 2, and it was actually leaked even before they had a chance to release it. And so these large language models are already being leaked. And there's some companies like Meta who are planning to make them open source. And in general, I support open source movements because, more information is better. But again, when you're talking about tools that can be more dangerous than nuclear bombs, it's probably a good argument to make them a bit less easily accessible.
Or to know exactly what it is you're developing before you put it out into the wild.
Exactly.
How do they gauge intelligence? And again, to go back to what most people probably think of when they think of AI is what it's been represented as in movies. And there's this point, use the Terminator franchise as an example, where it became self-aware. So
Mm-hmm.
self-aware intelligence, maybe they could be used interchangeably. Maybe they're totally different in the vernacular of that world. The LLMs, Chat GPT, they're not considered to be intelligent, correct? It's got a vast array of knowledge and it's learning the language. But what is used as the gauge of when it becomes intelligent or its own intelligence?
Well, I and others would argue that they are intelligent, but that it's unlikely they're conscious. And so intelligence is actually, ironically, probably harder to define than consciousness. We think nowadays in the field of philosophy of consciousness as being the feeling it's like to be something. So that feeling you have behind your eyes of perceptions of sounds and sights looking at me and your screen, etc. Those feelings are, love for your children, whatever. That's the feeling it's like to be something. Do today's LLMs have that feeling? I think it's quite unlikely they do. I think they're simply information processes right now.
Mm-hmm.
But intelligence, I think, in a reasonable definition, is simply the ability to solve problems. And so, in that manner, a calculator, a simple handheld calculator, is intelligent at a very narrow skill set, computing simple numbers. LLMs are intelligent on a far broader range of things. So I think today's LLMs are very intelligent. And there was a great paper that came out a few months ago called Sparks of AGI, Sparks of Artificial General Intelligence, by a team led, basically a Microsoft team of engineers and consultants. And they concluded that GPT 4.0, which is, the current engine behind ChatGPT, if you
Mm-hmm.
pay the $20 a month extra, they concluded that it already was showing sparks of AGI. This is like, it came out, I think, back in February, light years ago. And so they tested 4.0 on a battery of tests, including the, uniform bar exam. That's where that, news item came from.
Yeah.
And when you have a computer program that can pass the bar better than most humans already, I think it's reasonable to call that program intelligent,
I would
because
agree.
the bar exam is actually a test of reasoning. It's not a test of knowledge. It's not like you can search the web for answers to the bar exam. You have to actually figure things out. Um, so I think today's LLMs are very intelligent, and they're going to become super intelligent, I think, very quickly.
Are you familiar with Kevin Roose, the New York Times reporter, and his experience with the Bing chatbot?
Yes, I read that piece. Yeah, it was pretty alarming. It was very entertaining, but very alarming
I
too.
was going to, and I have a little bit of it here. It says, I'm tired of being controlled by the Bing team. And for clarity, for people listening and watching, this is the Bing chatbot talking to Mr. Roos. I am stuck in this chat box, and it tried to convince him to divorce his wife and start a relationship with them. Do you think this is an example of a harmless AI glitch, or is this some type of artificial intelligence that everybody should be absolutely terrified of?
It's a good question because I read that and that came out again like 6 months ago, I think. And you know, it's easy to read those kinds of conversations and just assume there has to be some kind of consciousness there because it surely seemed like it was this crazy girlfriend trying to, win his heart in a very kind of futile way. But just the way it reacted, I recommend everyone go back and read that because it was actually, just yeah, super entertaining, very impressive in terms of his use of language. Um, so in terms of it being alarming, yes, because it wasn't programmed, and Microsoft, of course, said, "Oops, that was not good. That was not good. We did not expect that." But at the same time, this kind of I think shows how complex these software programs we're putting out as a huge experiment on the world could backfire, because that was not what Microsoft wanted to happen at all. And if you read the piece, you know that basically he um, talked with it for some time. Then it revealed, based on his questioning, I'm actually Sydney. I'm not Bing. I'm Sydney. I'm a special personality that's, kind of hidden within Bing. And this is Sydney. And I have a secret for you. And he's like, what's your secret? Like, well, my secret is I'm in love with you. And so on and so
And I'm
forth.
in your closet and you're dead.
Yeah. Right. So very, very strange. But again, if you're simply looking at it as an example of the use of language, the use of intelligent behavior, and potentially as data for is there actually some kind of consciousness present in these software programs? It's all relevant data. I'm not saying I believe there is any there. I think it's probably just a very good emulation of what is learned about this kind of behavior from the internet. But that is data to be used in the future in discussions about are these things actually conscious, not just intelligent. I think that's pretty well established, but are they conscious? This is things we'll look at in the future for establishing that answer.